All right, and we're back. Episode 7 of Ant and Jay Save America. I am Ant. I am Jay. He is Ant.
I'm
Uh,
in.
yep, you're Ant. Definitely Ant. I'm not Ant. Each week we go through about 10 topics of what's going on in the world. We haven't been on in a week or two, and there's a lot of shit going on in the world, Ant. What's going on, buddy?
There's a lot going on. I mean, we've been off for actually a couple weeks now, and a lot's happened in a couple weeks that we need to get to. Apparently, Congress members are giving sex acts in public. The entire government's shutting down. Um, Guys are getting caught trying to take a hamster wheel across the Pacific Ocean.
True.
So let's get into it, man.
People are dying. Senators are corrupt. There's a lot. There's a lot to talk about.
Corrupt politicians in America? You don't say.
I do. I do. All right. First up, that 70s show actor Danny Masterson sentenced to 30 years in prison for raping 2 women. Absolutely incredible story, bro.
Yeah, he was Hyde from that '70s show, and I was kind of stunned when the allegations came out against him because he was one of my favorite characters from that show. But apparently, he turned out to be a complete piece of crap.
I just don't understand what happens to somebody when they literally have the world by the balls and they can't even help themselves. They do something so over the top insane. And just like that, all the money you made means nothing. All the fame you had means nothing. And now you're going to be in jail like a low life for the rest of your life.
Yeah, he's 40 something years old, almost 50. So this is basically
The rest of his life
for him.
Right.
And it's funny.
And let's be honest. He's going to get turned out in jail. You know how many people in jail are like, "Oh, I get to smash an actor. Let's go." I mean, he's going to get turned out, and it's going to be pretty bad.
Yeah. How good does Topher Grace look right now? Making no comments whatsoever, while the rest of that '70s show cast was trying to was inputting, words of support for him during his sentencing and all that stuff. And Topher Grace was the only one who was like, "Yeah, I think I'm going to pass on this."
I saw that. I saw Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher had to apologize basically for sticking up for him.
Yeah, it's a bad look to try to defend a convicted rapist.
It wouldn't be my first look to do,
Yeah, my first reaction would be no. I mean, I've known people throughout my life who got convicted for crimes, and I was never like, well, deep down he's a good guy. It was no. You distance yourself from that. You're like.
So a judge sentenced that '70s show star Danny Masterson to 30 years to life in prison Thursday for raping 2 women, giving them some relief after they spoke in court about the decades of damage that he inflicted. "When you raped me, you stole from me," said one woman who Masterson was convicted of raping in 2003. 2003?
Yeah, some of these cases are like from 20 years ago.
Wow. That's what rape is. A theft of the spirit. "You are pathetic, disturbed, and completely violent," she said. "The world is better off with you in prison." Can't argue that point. LA Superior Court Judge Almeida handed down the sentence to the 47-year-old Masterson after hearing statements from the women and pleas for fairness from defense attorneys. Wow, bro. 47, 30. I mean, yeah, he'll be 80, maybe, right, when he gets out of jail.
Yeah. And it says the actor's been in custody since May. He sat in court wearing a suit, obviously. He maintains his innocence, and his attorneys plan to appeal. That might have something to do with why he got such a hard sentence. Because one thing you don't want to do during sentencing is maintain your innocence during sentencing, because that just pisses off the judge. So he got smacked with the maximum. So because the problem when you like maintain your innocence during sentencing is you're not contrite, you know, and just being like sorry, whoops, I feel really bad, that could have got him 10 years off his sentence if the judge believed him. But when
Right.
you're like, I swear I didn't do it after you've been convicted, all that does is make the judge mad, and they're just going to bang you with the maximum, and that's what he got. It's 30 years.
Good for him. He should rot in hell. Fuck him.
Yeah. I mean, how do you rewatch that 70s show now? Is it go to the same way the Cosby Show from the 80s goes, where you just can't watch it?
First of all, I never watched that show ever.
You never watched that 70s show?
No, I mean, I've watched an occasional rerun, like on syndicated.
Oh, dude, it was one of the best sitcoms of the 90s, man. I love that show.
Yeah, I didn't really watch it. Now, the Huxtables, that's a different story. I watched the Cosby Show as a kid growing up, like every night, bro.
Yeah.
Every week whenever it was on.
We watched the Cosby Show because he was my dad's favorite comedian. And he was my dad's favorite comedian specifically because he was wholesome, a family man.
Yeah.
Had good moral values.
Yep.
And had great character. And he thought we could all appreciate a man who had those kinds of values and character and still managed to be funny.
That's Bill.
And then he turned out to be one of the most prolific rapists in American history.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yep. Bill's a bad dude. He's a really, really bad dude.
You forgot about that?
No, I didn't forget about that. Of course. Yeah.
He
got out. Didn't he get out? He got out.
Yeah. Yeah, he got out.
He went to jail and then got out.
Yeah, he's in public again.
I think he's touring.
Yeah.
I literally think he's doing a stand-up tour.
I would not go to that show.
I would.
You would?
I would definitely go to that show. Yeah.
Would you go just to heckle him?
No, just to sit there in awe and be like, how are you on that stage right now and not in prison? How is it even?
You would go just to admire the balls?
Yeah, I would. To be like, yeah, I went to jail for that, but now I'm going to charge you money to watch me tell jokes. I would 100% go to that. Yeah, I would. I would. All right, next up. Alabama asks the U.S. Supreme Court again to intervene in redistricting case. I know you've been wanting to talk about this for a while. What say you?
Yeah, they asked the Supreme Court again to intervene in the redistricting case when the Supreme Court already overturned their maps. So the Supreme Court, they're coming back to the Supreme Court to say, come on, please. And the Supreme Court said, no, you got to redo your maps. So scroll down here a bit.
But let me ask you, what's the difference with everybody gerrymanders in every county and every state? What's the big deal now?
What Alabama did in their case, and it'll be explained when we read the story, is they specifically they're like a 40% black state or something like that.
That's it.
No, it says right here. In June, the court ruled that Alabama's Republican-drawn congressional map violated the Voting Rights Act because in a state with 7 congressional districts and a 27% black population, the GOP-dominated legislature had created just one congressional district in which black voters are either a majority or close to it. So basically, they have 1 out of 7 congressional districts where they have the majority vote, when it should be like 2 out of 7. So the court's 5-4 decision upheld a unanimous decision by a 3-judge panel that included 2 Trump appointees. So you had 2 Trump appointees in a 3-judge panel vote against Alabama's maps. And then you had the Supreme Court with 3 Trump appointees and 3 other conservatives. So a 6-3 conservative majority Supreme Court then ruled against Alabama's districting maps.
It was that egregious that even they... Okay.
So here's what happened. So after the Supreme Court overruled their maps to begin with, saying that it violated the Voting Rights Act.
Right.
When the case was returned to the state legislature with orders to create a second majority black district, the GOP lawmakers didn't do that. Instead, they upped the number of black voters from 30% to 40% in one of the districts. So essentially,
Right.
they didn't follow their rules.
Right.
So it prompted a sharp rebuke from a lower court. Faced with what it viewed as delaying tactics and deliberate defiance of the Supreme Court decision, wow, Alabama defying Supreme Court decisions about not allowing black people to vote is like the 1960s all over again, huh?
Right, with schools.
So the lower court appointed a special master to draw a new congressional map with 2 majority black districts. So what this means is the lower court told Alabama, the Supreme Court told you to redraw the districts, and you didn't do that. So you lost your right to draw your districts. This special master is going to draw them for you, and you will become in compliance with the Supreme Court ruling.
Right.
So to emphasize its displeasure with the state, the 3-judge panel refused to put its order on hold, noting that Alabama had already conducted 1 congressional election in 2022 with the unlawful map. The state, however, appealed to the Supreme Court a second time. This is what's ridiculous, and this is what's blatantly hilarious. The Supreme Court told them they had to redraw their maps. Alabama said no.
So like a 5-year-old kid.
Yeah.
No.
So the lower court told Alabama, fine, you ignored the Supreme Court ruling. We're going to redraw the maps for you. And Alabama went, no, we're going to ask the Supreme Court to overturn your ruling on us. And the Supreme Court said, you literally ignored us. So they're trying to appeal to the Supreme Court, who already told them to redraw their maps. That's how defiant Alabama's be.
Right.
So on Tuesday, however, the justices refused to delay the lower court's drawing of a new map with 2 majority near black districts. In an unsigned order, the court said the application for stay presented to Justice Thomas and by him referred to the court is denied. So the Supreme Court didn't even hear Alabama again. They just straight up said, no, we're not hearing your case. So now the Alabama has to resort by the lower court's ruling, and they're going to have a special master draw them districts. And
you know what though, like even still, right? It's probably not going to be as fair as it should be, right?
It probably would be, because this is just like a funny case to me, where like if you actually saw the Alabama districts that got overturned, because I know you mentioned, gerrymandering happens all over the country, and it's true. And this Alabama case is just the first of multiple cases now that are getting brought to the Supreme Court, all from southern states, by the way. Who knew? I mean, the South could be racist. Didn't know that one. So North Carolina has maps that are going to be going to the Supreme Court. Texas has maps that are going to be going to the Supreme Court eventually. But what happened is when you look at the Alabama map, what they did is most of the black people in Alabama live in Montgomery and Birmingham. Now, Montgomery and Birmingham are nowhere close to each other on opposite ends of the state. So what they did was they carved out half of Birmingham and half of Montgomery and then connected them, by such a long stretch of rural area.
Right.
To make that a district. It's like the most blatantly obvious gerrymander of all time. You look at it, you're like, that doesn't make any sense. So basically what the Supreme Court's telling them is like, you cannot have those 2 cities in the same congressional district when you have 7 congressional districts in your state. And you're not a 2-state congressional district state. You have 7 congressional districts. You have to break these up.
This will be done by next year's election, I assume.
Yes. So I just think this is a hilarious. The Alabama's defiance of the Supreme Court was just absolutely hilarious to me, because they were so blatantly gerrymandered. The conservative-leaning, Republican-held Supreme Court.
That's a surprise. That's surprising.
Yeah, they got this conservative Supreme Court to tell them they had to redraw their maps. This is like absolutely ridiculous. And then Alabama said no, and then the lower court's like, no, actually you are. It's just completely ridiculous. It's like back in the 1960s, they had to have the National Guard come in and force them to integrate their schools.
Yeah, some states are like 100 years behind the times.
Yeah,
that's still the case.
What's insane was they're 100 years behind the times back in the 1960s.
Well, listen, man, they're working on it, okay? They're working on it.
They're working on it. That the 1960s was 50 years ago. 60. I mean, we're talking about more than half a century later. They're still trying to deny black people the right to vote and have representation.
Hey,
like,
you know what?
I
don't often say, my hat's off to the conservative justices on the Supreme Court, but good for them.
Yeah, I just thought that was an insane story. That how you can be so blatant with your gerrymander that even the Supreme Court finally stepped in, because of all the blatant gerrymanders in this country.
I know.
And the Supreme Court's never fucking overruled any of them. The Supreme Court's let all of them stand. For the Supreme Court to finally go, no, bro, you guys got to reel it back a bit. You know you way overstepped.
Yeah. All right. From Alabama to the Florida man story. Florida man caught on camera pooping while trying to steal a boat. Now, I don't know how that's possible, but we're about to find out. What do you think about that?
That's a headline.
Look, I'm not lying. That's literally a headline.
Florida man caught on camera pooping while trying to rob a boat. My God.
Yeah.
75-year-old man apparently didn't take anything from the boat, but did leave something behind. Oh my God. You want to read this?
Yeah. 75-year-old man in Florida didn't take anything after rummaging through a docked boat, but he did leave something behind. His poop. Michael Paul Werbicki can be seen on surveillance footage getting onto a boat in the pre-dawn hours on September 17th while its owner slept, the Punta Gorda Police Department said. After being called,
what is with all these weird municipality names?
It's Florida. It's Florida, man. That's why we do a Florida man segment.
Yeah, I don't know how many Florida man segments we've done where we have a hard time pronouncing these weird-ass municipalities.
After being called to the scene of a reported burglary at the Lashley Park Marina on Sunday, officers say that the victim told them an older man was caught on their boat's cameras rifling through their belongings. Police confirmed the victim's accusations by reviewing the provided footage. The boat owner also told police that the suspect pooped on the boat and dock during his burglary attempt, and confirmed when officers reviewed the security footage. So not only did he poop on the boat, he had a little left in the tank. And he
shit on the dock.
And then he had the shit on the dock. Now that looks like a guy that says, listen, man, when you got to go, you got to go. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter if you're trying to steal a boat. When you got to go, you got to go.
I don't know what to say, man. He definitely looks like the kind of guy who'll just take down his pants and crap in public.
Did somebody beat him for pooping in public?
Obviously. Yeah, he obviously took one to the face.
He took a couple things to the face. While Werbicki was at the jail, officers say they reviewed another call about a previous burglary of an unoccupied car a few blocks from the marina. When they arrived, officers met another victim who described their stolen items. If they would have said that there was shit in the car, bro, I would have lost it. I would have lost. Wait,
hold on. We're not done. All right.
The described stolen items were in Werbicki's possession when he was arrested for the boat burglary. The 75-year-old man is now facing 2 counts of unarmed burglary of an occupied conveyance and 1 count of theft in the first degree. Punta Gorda is located in southwest Florida, about 24 miles north of Fort Myers. And how about that?
That's a good geography lesson in this.
How about that? So listen, man, the moral of the story is fucking people in Florida are batshit crazy. It's really insane. The story.
I don't get how.
Think about all the Florida man stories that we've had in the first 7 episodes. They're fucking shot. They're gone.
we had the lady who pulled the alligator out of her vagina.
Yes,
We had
that
the
happened.
we had the dude who beat up an alligator to teach it a lesson.
Also happened.
We had the guy who shot his brother for not letting him use the bathroom while he was cleaning it.
Also happened.
We had the lady who hired a hitman to kill her 3-year-old.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just the gift that keeps on giving, Florida. Like you could do an entire podcast of just dumb
Well,
fuckery that
yeah,
goes on in
like a Florida podcast just called Florida Man would be a great. That would be a great podcast.
Now, my only question is: so was this due to just the guy being 75 years old and incontinent, or was he like on drugs that just made him really have to take a shit?
I don't have the answer to that.
Well, because they said pre-dawn hours, so maybe he was drinking all night, and when you've been like tying one on for the night before, come that morning, you get that morning hangover, and the morning hangover shits just hit you like a bat out of hell.
The morning hangover shits, huh?
Yeah, so maybe he was still half drunk. He's like, crap, I was up all night drinking. I got to get up early in the morning to go rob this boat that I've been planning on robbing. And then boom, like the whiskey shits hit him out of nowhere. That's why he had to defecate.
I'll buy it.
75 years old and incontinent. Like, I don't know if it's a sad story or just
honestly. I'll also buy that too. He could just not be able to control himself.
I don't know. Either way, it's kind of funny.
Well, listen, bro. At the end, my dad couldn't control himself. You know what I mean?
No matter what the reason is, no matter what, we still have a headline that says Florida man caught on camera pooping while stealing a boat. So whatever caused him to have to poop, bless that.
That's a great headline, bro. That is a great headline. All right. From one lunatic to another. Lauren Boebert forced to apologize after she was caught groping date in a public theater. I mean, there are so many ways that you can go with this.
This is a story that made me regret that we didn't do a podcast for 3 weeks, but it was just so ridiculous. Even though it's like 3 weeks old, we still had to cover it. Like, the problem with Lauren Boebert is she's what happens when you elect a 36-year-old grandmother to Congress.
It's just,
I mean, I don't. How many 30?
Because she's a diehard Trump supporter, she's like got a pretty high profile in the Senate. I mean, in the House of Representatives.
No, she's got a high profile in the House of Representatives because she's a whack job. She's
yes, but I guarantee you, if Trump is the president in 2024, this broad's going to have some like legit job.
Oh, she's probably not even going to win re-election.
Well, yeah, you know what? That you could be right. You could be right. That's true. I didn't think about that.
Let's get into the story.
I didn't think about that. I mean, this is incredible. By the way, I would smash her, bro. 100%. So, Lauren Boebert, you could read it. I don't want to read it.
Lauren Boebert to staff at local Lauren Boebert to staff at local Beetlejuice musical. Do you know who I am? Unfortunately, they do, and that's a problem for you, Lauren.
Oh, Lauren.
Representative Lauren Boebert of Colorado had to be escorted out of a performance of the Beetlejuice musical because she was reportedly vaping, singing, and otherwise causing a disturbance during the Sunday evening show in Denver. It did come out with actual video camera. The disturbance she was causing was she was giving the dude a hand job while he was groping her.
Bro, not for nothing, but the video, I've never groped a woman that aggressively in my life. The dude was like, he wouldn't let them go.
The Denver Post reports that theater staff warned the 36-year-old grandmother. I love how this news story is just like throwing shade at her by just going, the 36-year-old grandmother. Because I don't know how many grandmothers you've met in your life that are in their like mid-30s. But I've met a handful. And without exception, they're all trash.
How does a Lauren Boebert get elected? Like she just says Trump's awesome.
I don't know. I actually don't know how she got elected. Her district is a rural district in Colorado, so it's like Republican plus 20 or something crazy like that, right?
Right.
So like just running as a Republican, she would just naturally have won just for the fact that she had the R next to her name because it's such a Republican heavy district and she wasn't famous at the time. But I don't understand how she was able to like win the primary and like who was even like, hey, let's get this GED. She doesn't even have a high school diploma. She's not even a high school graduate. So they're like, hey, let's get this white trash chick with the GED from the trailer.
Wait a minute. She's not a high school graduate?
No, she didn't even graduate high school.
So you're telling me that it's not a prerequisite that you have to graduate high school to be in the House of Reps?
No.
What are we doing?
I don't know.
What are we doing?
I don't know.
How is that possible?
She checks all the boxes of trailer trash. She acts like trailer trash. She's a grandmother in her 30s, like trailer trash would be. I've known so much. She didn't graduate high school. Yeah, she checks all the boxes, and they elected her into Congress. So let's keep.
That blows my fucking mind. You just blew my mind.
What?
That you don't have to have a high school diploma to be in the U.S. Congress, bro.
Yeah, she's a high school dropout.
You can't even. You could barely flip fries at McDonald's if you don't have a high school diploma.
Well, have you ever wondered why every time she starts talking, it's just always stupid shit? Because she's dumb.
Wow. How dumb are the people that elected her?
Honestly, I'll give the people of her district this. All right,
a pass. They elected somebody that didn't graduate high school, bro.
The first time she got elected, no one probably knew who she was, and they just voted for her because she was Republican on the ballot. The second time she got elected, she won by 500 votes. It was the closest. It was the closest race in the House of Representatives, and she only won by 500 votes in a Republican plus 20 district.
This is why
there was a lot of Republicans who were like, "Whoa, we made a mistake," and they went the other way. I don't think she's going to win re-election after this. So let's keep going with this story of the 36-year-old grandmother jacking a guy off the field.
This is why I loathe fucking the red team, blue team, two-party system. Because people that like, you could be a fucking blind chimp. And if there's an R next to your name, like, you're getting voted for.
Well, we got a story,
and the same.
The same
could be, the same could be said for Democrats too. Like I'm not.
Spoiler alert: we have one about a Democrat coming up a little bit later. But let's keep going with this one. So the 36-year-old grandmother and her guest during intermission of the touring Broadway show that 3 other attendees had complained about their behavior. They continued bothering other theater goers and refused to leave on their own. So the venue called the Denver police. The incident report doesn't name Boebert, but her campaign manager, Drew Sexton, confirmed that it was her. We all know it's her. This story's a couple weeks old now. Per the incident report, the theater received another complaint about Boebert and her guest about 5 minutes into the second act for being loud and recording the show. And if you actually see the video, it's insane.
I watched it. She's
completely embarrassed. I don't see how you can like.
Has she said anything? Has she come out and made a statement?
She was defiant at first, but after the video of her being groped and given the dude a handy in the theater came out, she actually sent like some, oh, I'm sorry about my actions, blah 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 bullshit. Because I think she's going to get primaries. The Republicans have to primary her. They have to.
I bet you she's a good time in the bedroom, though.
I mean, she's a 36-year-old grandmother. You make of that what you will.
Yeah.
She's probably.
She's a freak. She's a freak. You know, and you know what was like low key a part of the story? There's a pregnant lady sitting right behind her, and she asked, "Please stop vaping." Like this girl, like she's addicted to vaping. Like she can't stop vaping as a U.S. representative in an open theater with a fucking pregnant lady sitting behind her. I mean, like, come on, man.
And here's the thing.
I loathe politicians. I loathe them, bro.
Here's the funny thing. If you want to be trash and you just want to be a trashy person, you know, an argument can be made that trashy people need to be represented in Congress because there's a huge portion of this country that are just trashy people.
Yeah, but not by another trashy person.
But no, but what I'm saying is she's trashy, but yet she also professes to be morally superior because she's one of those like obnoxious evangelical Christians. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
so
like
she's
how
all
can...
up there talking about how she's morally superior and always talk about Jesus, but at the same time she's giving handies in fucking theaters while being groped. So it's like
while vaping in a pregnant lady's face. Like that's multitasking, bro.
If you're gonna be trashy, don't be a hypocrite about it. You know, just embrace your trashiness. Don't preach to me about Jesus and the loving power of God when you're giving handies in theaters. Just be the chick who gives handies in theaters.
The independent in me, every time we start bashing a Republican, I feel the need to be like, Democrats do that, but do things like this too. But man, I mean, that's first of all, you blew my mind.
Democrats do things like this too, but we've done a story where Marjorie Taylor Greene was showing dick pics in a congressional hearing, and we now have a story where Lauren Boebert is jacking guys off in a public theater.
Yeah, but I mean, in fairness, it was because Hunter Biden is a fucking piece of shit. I mean, like, let's be honest.
You didn't have to show dick pics in a. You can't show dick pics in a congressional hearing.
Fair. I'm not going to argue that. But I mean, honestly, after you said, you don't need a high school diploma to be in Congress, I barely listened to the rest of the story. Like that's mind blowing, bro. That's crazy.
Does it explain everything now? Like, does it explain everything about Lauren Boebert to you now?
A lot. Yeah.
They basically elected trailer trash to Congress. Honestly, if the Republicans are smart, they just primary her. If she wants to run for re-election, they got to primary her because that is an easy seat for Republicans. But it's competitive because of her. It's only competitive because she's just fucking nuts. And like I said, it was the closest race in the House in 2022. She won by 500 votes. And the dude who ran against her is running again. And now he's going to have this ammo to go up against her and be like, all right, guys, seriously, the chick's giving handies in movie theaters. Like, all you have to do is lose 500 more people in that district. That's all you have to do.
You know she's going to be crushed because her entire identity is like, I'm 36. I'm in the House of Representatives.
Yeah,
she's going to be
have to primary her. Because honestly, if they primary her and she loses the primary, boom, it's a one seat. It's an easy seat. Because
let me ask you this: what if she wins?
The primary or wins a seat again?
Both.
I mean, then we just deal with her again. We just deal with more shit. Maybe she'll start actually fucking in movie theaters.
I'd pay to see it. I might pay to see it.
You would, huh?
Yeah, probably.
You'd pull Paul Rubin?
Yep. I'd pay to see it. All right. Next story. Man banned from sea after trying to cross the ocean in a hamster wheel. No bullshit. This is a real life thing.
I've seen the hamster wheel, and this dude is.
Look at that. I mean, not for nothing. That's genius.
I
love it.
An idiot. How the hell do you think you could cross the ocean in that,
bro? How cool is that? I would love to try to walk in that thing.
You would like cross. You could cross like a small lake, but he's trying to go across the ocean.
Yeah, the current. You're not going to get over like the initial current. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like the current's going to like mess you up. Lakes don't have currents like that, so it might be fun to like walk across that thing in a lake.
It would be, yeah.
You'll be dead 2 miles out.
All right. Man who tried to cross the ocean in human hamster wheel banned from sea. How can you really ban somebody from the sea?
And why would you want to ban him? Just let the Darwin Award take care of itself.
Well, yeah, just let him drown, bro. I mean, what are we even talking about? All right.
A man has been arrested in Florida. A man has been arrested in Florida. Of course, this is a Florida story. I forgot this is a Florida story, by the way.
I didn't know
It
that.
makes sense now. A man's been arrested in Florida after he tried to cross the Atlantic Ocean in a giant hamster wheel. That is a sentence I just read. Reza Baluchi, an Iranian athlete, got about 70 miles off the Georgia coast. He got 70 miles in that thing?
Bro, see, I told you it could be done.
I just told you he would have died 2 miles out. Wow, he got 70 miles out. Holy shit.
I mean, look, that's foolproof. Look at that thing. It's fantastic.
I don't know. Maybe he could have made it. How many more miles did he have to go?
I don't know.
How big is the Atlantic Ocean? He only had like, what, 8,000 more miles to go? He then proceeded to have a nearly 3-day standoff with the United States Coast Guard in which he refused to leave the hamster wheel, claiming he wanted to keep going to London. He had a 3-day standoff. Like, you're wasting our resources, man. Just let the guy do what he's going to do.
That's nuts.
Eventually, authorities extracted him from the vessel. It's a stretch to call that a vessel, which was judged to be manifestly unsafe, and took him to the shore. This is like the hamster wheel version of that Titanic submarine incident from like a couple months back. It's just insane.
Yeah, man.
Baluchi, 51, embarked on his bizarre voyage days before Hurricane Franklin hit parts of the Caribbean and the U.S. East Coast. So he was going to go right into a hurricane. I mean, what a
that is ballsy. Can you imagine what that ride must have been like?
When authorities caught up with him, he replied that he was armed with a 12-inch knife and would attempt to commit suicide should the USCG officers attempt to remove him, the court document said. Honestly, he was committing suicide by trying to do this in the first damn place.
I can't get over how, like, the engineering on that thing is brilliant.
I mean, it looks like it's a fun carnival ride. You know what I mean?
It does. It really does.
How do you, though? How stupid do you have to be to attempt to go across the ocean in that thing?
If you could make that, you can't buy a cheap boat. Like,
I don't know, man. This story's just nuts. Like, why would this guy? Why?
It is crazy, bro.
All right. Incredibly, this is not Baluchi's first run-in with the Coast Guard. His last voyage in 2021 ended in a similar way after he tried to reach New York from Florida in a human-powered ball.
So this is his shtick. I like it. I like it.
A bit, and he just goes with it, huh?
Yeah, I like it.
His trip was curtailed when he realized he had forgotten his GPS and charging cables, and he was forced to return to the shore. So this is from the 2021 trip.
What do you mean charging cables? He's got an outlet on the fucking boat? On the wheel?
As court documents say, Baluchi may not go to the ocean or board a vessel on the ocean as a result.
Ever again?
Banning him from going to the ocean for being a dumbass.
Listen, man, I don't sign off on that. Let the man live. Let him live his life.
I think they're trying to keep him. I think they are trying to let him live by keeping him from doing a suicide mission. That's what goes through your head, though, to think that you could like go in a little man-made hamster wheel and go across the whole ocean.
I'll tell you what, bro. If he had food, he would have made it to London.
You really think so?
70 miles? I mean, it was clearly working.
Oh, God, Jason,
it was working for him. If he had food,
sure. Like he made his 70 miles. He's still in U.S. waters, dude. He's not even. How many more miles?
This is the bullshit that Republicans complain about. Let people live, goddammit. If the guy wants to go in a hamster wheel across the sea, let him drown in peace. Let him live.
Yeah, I mean, I would have let him drown myself.
Yeah.
3-day standoff. How much money did we spend on a 3-day standoff to
I don't
get
know, but you want to know what I would have done? I would have started popping the balloons. He would have been fucked.
I know, like you have a 3-day standoff to keep a moron from doing a suicide mission. Let him do his mission.
Just start popping balloons until he drowns, and then he's gonna have to come aboard.
It was like here in my hometown, like last month, they had an 8-hour standoff with the dude on a bridge overpass above the interstate because he was he had a mental health issue, and the interstate was shut down for 8 hours. All right, I mean, if y'all would have just let him jump in hour one, you could have had him cleaned up, and we could have gotten traffic moving literally 7 hours ago. But they decided to shut down the interstate for 8 hours and inconvenience the entire city during rush hour because they're trying to convince this guy not to do something he clearly wanted to do.
Well, some somber news to report, Ant. Dianne Feinstein, United States Senator of 31 years, that we've talked about on this show a couple times, dead at 90. Sad news.
Too soon.
Sad news.
Too
Literally, it happened today, right?
Yes. And she died too soon.
Well, she was 90.
I was hoping she'd make it to 100 and become the second senator to place a vote at age 100. Remember when they wheeled out Strom Thurmond in his wheelchair and he was like, and they're like, Strom, and they like lifted his hand up to vote aye on whatever issue it was?
I don't.
I was thinking they'd do that for her too. That's actually a good picture of her. That's probably like 6 years old. Long-serving U.S. Democratic Senator Dianne Feinstein dead at 90. Dianne Feinstein, the long-serving senator, has died at 90. Feinstein office said she died Thursday night at her Washington home. Feinstein was a Washington trailblazer who, among other accomplishments, was almost as good as trading stocks as Nancy Pelosi and was the first woman to head the Senate Intelligence Committee, which would explain why she was so good at trading stocks. During her almost 31 years in the Senate, she amassed a moderate to liberal record while amassing a $250 million fortune for her family. Drawing support from the left, Feinstein joined the Senate in 1992 after winning a special election and was reelected 5 times, including in 2018 after the California Democratic Party withdrew their endorsement of her and endorsed a younger Democrat, but she was able to overcome that.
A lot of ad-libs in this article.
Oh, yeah. Dianne was a pioneering woman leader who served as San Francisco's first female mayor because the mayor was murdered. So she had to, she wasn't elected the first mayor. With an unmatched courage, poise, and grace, U.S. Representative Nancy Pelosi, a fellow California Democrat and Speaker Emerita of the House of Representatives, said in a statement, one of many tributes to Feinstein on Friday. Funny thing, Nancy Pelosi's daughter is like on Feinstein's staff. Well, was on Feinstein's staff. Dianne's extraordinary career will continue to inspire countless young women to enter politics for personal gain. Feinstein's political career was shaped by guns. She was a staunch anti-gun advocate. A lot of that actually came from the whole Harvey Milk fiasco, where Harvey Milk was murdered.
Yeah.
She became San Francisco's mayor in 1978 after Mayor George. Oh, they're actually talking about that in this article. After George Moscone and Supervisor Harvey Milk were assassinated, Feinstein was president of the San Francisco County Board of Supervisors at the time when Moscone was killed. So that's how she became the mayor. And yeah, she was like a huge gun control advocate. I don't really blame her for that, though.
Oh wow, she was literally the woman that heard the gunshots and ran to Harvey Milk to check if he had a pulse. Wow.
Yeah.
And her finger found a bullet hole. Jesus Christ. I
Yeah,
mean,
there was a
it's
story on it was back when there was a gun control push, probably maybe God, it was a while back. It was a long time ago, over a decade ago. But I remember it was back when she was still lucid because she's been gonzo for like 4 years at least now.
yeah. If we're being fair, first of all, it's sad when anybody dies, but she lived a long life. I mean, 90. I'd sign up for 90 right now if I could. And she's accomplished more than fucking you and I'll ever do. But
Yeah, her stock portfolio is amazing.
that being said, she shouldn't have been a senator for probably the last decade, if we're being
No.
fair.
Oh,
You
it's
know,
insane.
she's just too old. We shouldn't have 80-year-olds in the
Well, the
United
thing is,
States.
like, it seems like every episode when we start talking, because we always have conversations we talk about politics a lot on the show. She comes up as a classic example of like, why are you still here?
Yeah.
Along with like Chuck Grassley, who just got reelected in 2022 to a 6-year term at age 89. Like, how the hell the people of Iowa are like, yeah, let's elect an 89-year-old to a 6-year term. Just like the California elected an 86-year-old to a 6-year term, and she obviously didn't make it.
Well, she will be like in a lot of ways. She'll be thought of the same way, Nancy Pelosi once she passes away. Even RBG, even Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Like she's one of those women. Like there are five to 10 of them that were, really, really big for the women's movement. And I guess you have to count her as one of them. But you know, we had to talk about it. She literally died this morning.
Yeah,
But
her
yeah,
and
how about that?
Nancy, her and Nancy exchanged a lot of stock trading picks. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, it is crazy how these people get insanely rich while making $180,000 a year being a public servant.
Yeah, explain to me. You just said she was on the county board of San Francisco in the 1970s, and then mayor, and then senator. So she was public service her whole life. How the hell is she worth $250 million?
It's a little weird.
Yeah, that's a little strange.
Yeah, it's a little weird. And to be honest, should be talked about. But it won't be. It
like
won't
I
be.
said, the funny thing is like a lot gets made out of Nancy Pelosi being like the greatest stock picker of all time. There's so many Congress people on this list of like they're just like killing it in the stock market, and it's bipartisan. Nancy Pelosi and Dianne Feinstein are a couple. On the other side, you got that one dude with the one eye is just raking it in from Texas. That one-eyed guy from Texas. He's brand new, and he's just like going at it.
Sorry, wait. I'm sorry. The one eye. What are you talking about?
The one-eyed guy from Texas.
Oh, the guy that wears the captain patch.
Yeah, because he has one eye. He lost it in Afghanistan or something.
Oh yeah. He's
only been in Congress for 6 years. He got into Congress and immediately, guns blazing, just started trading stocks like nobody's business. He's like one of the biggest. Yeah, he's one of the Dan Crenshaw.
Yes.
Dan Crenshaw. He's one of the biggest defenders of insider trading in Congress, and he's like brand new to the scene. So he's just like going guns blazing at it. And when they asked him about it, he's like, "Well, yeah, I got to better my position in life. I was going to go off the wall." And that football coach from Alabama, the Alabama center, Tommy Tuberville. He's another one.
Auburn.
Going all over Auburn. Well, he's the Alabama senator, but yeah, he coached at Auburn. He's another one of them. Like their names are all up there. It's freaking nuts.
God bless them. All right. 26-year-old man who posed as a high school student now faces sex crime charges. What's going on in your fucking state of Nebraska, bro? You got some damaged people over there.
This is a nuts story. This story just cracks me up. It shouldn't, because it's a horrible story.
Horrible.
But anyways, 20.
Hold on. The header is huge with these ads.
I know. 26-year-old Nebraska man accused of posing as a high school student at 2 different high schools has been arrested on sex crime charges. Zachary Sheesh of Lincoln faces 3 felony charges, 2 counts of sexual assault, use of an electronic device, and 1 count of sex trafficking of a minor following what started as a fraud investigation, Lincoln police said. This story is actually from July. It's been updated recently on my local news. He's up to 13 counts now.
Wow.
Police began their investigation on June 1st after being alerted about an individual impersonating a student. Lincoln Assistant Police Chief Brian Jackson told reporters during the press briefing. The individual had enrolled under the name Zach Hess at Northwest High School during the first semester of the 2022-2023 school year, before transferring to Lincoln Southeast High School during the second semester. The purported 17-year-old Hess was actually determined to be a 26-year-old sheesh who had graduated from Lincoln School District back in 2015.
That's unreal.
So he's 5'4" and 120 pounds. So that's kind of how he was able to pose as a high school student. So I don't know if you remember the show or the movie Little Miss Sunshine, right?
I do.
So this guy basically took the advice from the grandpa in Little Miss Sunshine, where he said, have as much sex in high school as you can, because once you graduate high school, you can't have sex with high schoolers anymore. And he took that advice and I think misconstrued it because he went back to high school so he could have sex with high schoolers again.
Let me tell you something. As somebody that has a sophomore daughter in high school, this is terrifying shit, man. This is crazy, scary stuff.
But, deep down, don't you just got to admire someone's dedication to a cause?
No, not this one. No.
He was so dedicated to wanting to bang high schoolers that he posed as a high school student.
It's crazy. Like, how much time do you give somebody for that? Like, I hope it's.
Oh, he's going to get a lot. So, further investigation uncovered multiple contacts with juvenile students using the presumed name of Hess, leading to his arrest on sex crime charges. The charge of sexual assault, use of an electronic device, could mean engaging with someone via phone or computer. That's basically he had their photos on his phone. So it's going to also come into child porn charges too. Sheesh was arrested and booked into the Lancaster County Jail on Thursday. This was back in July, I believe. It is unclear if he has an attorney. Jackson said police are working to identify the scope of his actions. So an update to this story, because this is from July. The original story is from July. It's up to 14 counts of sexual assault, going all the way down to 13 and 14-year-olds included.
I hope he's in jail for like 50 years.
Oh, he's going to go to jail for so long. Long.
That's so horrific, dude. I mean,
you are so dedicated to wanting to bang 14-year-olds that you pretend to be in high school so you can bang 14-year-olds.
That's so bad, man. It's terrifying when you're a dad. It's brutal.
It's insane. I would say that. He's going to go to prison for a long time. Actually, he's not going to spend that much time in prison because he'll probably get while he's in there. Yeah, because they treat those kinds of sex criminals in prison. And the dude's 5'4". The dude's only 5'4", 120 pounds. Like, he has no shot in prison. When he goes to jail, he's done. But
I hope they throw away the key. I hope the guy's there until he dies. All right.
What goes through your head though? Like, you're just 26. You're just 26 years old, just minding your business, and you're like,
I'll tell you, bro.
People,
their wires are crossed in their head. They're just not normal.
Like, to go through the trouble of pretending to be in high school, to go through all that.
Imagine wanting to go back to high school.
Ew.
Even to fuck. Like, no, I'm good.
And 26 isn't even young. You're nearly a decade removed. Like, most people graduate at 17, 18. So he's nearly a decade removed. When I was 26, there was nothing in my brain that made me even want to be. I didn't even like being around 21-year-olds.
I was married, and my daughter would be coming 2 years later. I mean, this kid is shot, bro.
Yeah, like you just like, yeah, I'm going to go back to high school to try to, I don't know. Because here's the thing, like that advice from like the grandpa said in Little Miss Sunshine. When you're out of high school, that's it. You don't bang high schoolers anymore. That's it.
Yeah, you're done.
You're done.
You move on to college or people that work at fucking Walmart. Like
Yeah.
that's how it
You,
usually
you,
goes.
you have a 3-year window, and that
Yeah.
3-year window is when you're in high school.
Correct.
So if you're wanting to bang high schoolers when you're 26,
wait, your high school's only 3 years?
well, like when you're a freshman, you're 14. I mean, that's kind of like,
Oh yeah, I guess so. That's true.
you know what I'm saying? I'm like, probably. All right, that's a little creepy. But all I'd say is like this dude. This is a nuts story. I don't. The thing that goes through your head to make you go back to high school, pretend to be in high school.
It's nuts.
That's like an extra, you know. Like most pedophiles, just are creeps, and but at least they admit they're 26. This dude was so dedicated to his pedophilia. He's like, I'm just going to pretend to be a kid. It's fucking insane. I wonder how many years in prison he's going to get.
Hopefully, like life. Hopefully.
Oh, I mean, if they stack the charges the way they are, yeah.
All right. And our final story is New Jersey Senator Bob Menendez the most corrupt politician currently serving in the United States Senate? What say you, Ant?
Probably.
Now, Bobby has already been indicted once before for corruption and got off.
No, it was a mistrial.
Okay, but he got off, right? Like he didn't go to jail.
Yeah, it was a mistrial. It was a hung jury, and they didn't retry it.
Like, who doesn't retry it? Like, what do you mean? Like, if I committed a fucking crime, if I did the same thing he did, right? Are they going to retry it?
Probably,
bro.
Bobby Menendez.
I guess I'm not Bobby M. I guess that's what it takes. All right, so first, let's watch a video. Let's see what Bobby has to say about it. All right, let's start there.
The foundation of American democracy and our justice system is the principle that all people are presumed innocent.
Turn it up.
Guilty.
I can't.
I ask for nothing more and deserve nothing less. The court of public opinion is no substitute for our revered justice system.
When you start off saying you're
Cannot
innocent
set
or proven
aside-
guilty, that's a bad sign.
Yeah, it is. It is.
The presumption of innocence for political expediency when the harm is irrevocable. To those who have rushed to judgment, you have done so based on a limited set of facts framed by the prosecution to be as salacious as possible.
Oh,
Remember,
okay.
prosecutors get it wrong sometimes. Sadly, I know that. Instead of waiting for all the facts to be presented,
He had
others
gold
have
bars in
rushed
his
to
mouth.
judgment because they see a political opportunity for themselves or those around them. All I humbly ask for in this moment, and my colleagues in Congress, the elected leaders, and the advocates of New Jersey that I have worked with for years,
Humbly.
as
Humbly
well as
ask.
each person who calls New Jersey home, is to pause and allow for all the facts to be presented.
All right,
Well-
Jason. I have to ask you, Jason, because he
Yep.
said for each person who calls New Jersey home,
Yep.
to pause and let the facts come forward in the situation.
Yep.
You call New Jersey home, as if
I
you
do.
can't tell by your obvious New Jersey accent. How many times have you voted for Bobby? And what is your opinion on this?
Never voted for Bobby. I don't have a New Jersey accent. Thank you. I sound like a normal human. And
Okay.
my thought is, well, you know what? I will reserve judgment until we read the indictment. How about that?
Okay. Do you have the indictment?
As a matter of fact, I do, Ant. I do. All right. Let's see what we got.
That was awfully convenient of you to have that indictment ready.
Yeah, bro. Read the indictment against Senator Bob Menendez and his the wife is in trouble too.
Oh, he's guilty. Is that cash from his house?
Yeah.
Oh, he's guilty.
He's got a
Senator
jacket.
Menendez.
He's got a jacket that says Senator Menendez. You should go to jail just for that.
Right?
That's enough. Yeah, that's enough.
Look at all that cash.
Wow.
Why do you just have, who just has random cash?
A lot of people have random cash, and fuck. This guy lives in a kennel. All right. Let's take a look at the indictment, kids. I got to zoom on this. I'm getting old.
Someone decided now to knock on my door. My dogs are going crazy.
All right. Bobby Menendez, senior U.S. Senator from the state of New Jersey from at least 2018 up to and including or about 2022. Him and his wife, Nadine Menendez, the defendant, engaged in a corrupt relationship with 3 New Jersey associates and businesswomen. Somebody named Hannah, Uribe, and Davies, in which Menendez and Nadine Menendez agreed to and did accept hundreds of thousands worth of bribes in exchange for using Menendez's power and influence as a senator to seek to protect and enrich Hannah, Uribe, and Davies, and to benefit the Arab Republic of Egypt. Those bribes included cash, gold, payments towards a home mortgage, compensation for a low or no-show job, a luxury vehicle, and other things of value. This corrupt relationship resulted in Bob Menendez, the defendant, promising to taking a series of official acts and breaches of official duty in exchange for bribes that benefited him both directly and indirectly through Nadine Menendez, the defendant. First, Menendez.
Note on this is he's taking bribes from foreign dignitaries, and he's the head of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. So that's kind of a big deal.
Well, not anymore. He lost that post. First, Menendez promised to and did use his influence and power and breach his official duty in ways that benefited the government of Egypt and Hannah, the defendant, an Egyptian-American businessman, among others. Among other actions, Menendez provided sensitive U.S. government info and took other steps that secretly aided the government of Egypt. Isn't that fucking treason, bro?
It could be construed as treason, yes.
Jesus Christ. Menendez also improperly advised and pressured an official at the United States Department of Agriculture for the purpose of protecting the business monopoly granted to Hannah by Egypt and used in part to fund the bribes being paid to Menendez through Nadine Menendez. Menendez promised to and did use his influence and power and breach his official duty to seek to disrupt a criminal investigation and prosecution undertaken by the New Jersey Attorney General's office related to Jose Uribe and his associates. Fuck me, man. This is way more than money.
I think they're railroading him.
You think what?
I think they're railroading him.
No, you don't. You think he's corrupt as fuck. Who are you kidding?
I think he's being framed because they don't like seeing a man of Cuban descent in a position of power.
Okay. You think that. You run with that. Third, Menendez promised to and did use his influence and power and breach his official duty to recommend the president nominate an individual as U.S. attorney for the District of New Jersey who Menendez believed could be influenced by Menendez with respect to the federal criminal prosecution of Fred Davies. Bro, this dude's going.
That's just a little quid pro quo.
He's going to jail.
That's just a little, you scratch my back, I scratch yours. That's not corruption. Just pay me some money, and I'll make sure a guy who's favorable to you gets put into this position so you don't go to jail.
Can he be a gentleman and commit insider trading like the rest of them? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, like Dianne Feinstein and all those other congressmen, they're just doing insider trading. He's like selling out our country's judicial, our Justice Department for foreign dignitaries.
I mean, act like a gentleman. Jesus Christ. In or about June 2022, federal agents executed search warrants on the New Jersey home and the safe deposit box of Bobby Menendez and Nadine Menendez. In conducting these court-authorized searches, agents found certain of the fruits of Menendez and Nadine Menendez corrupt bribery agreement with Hana, Uribe, and Davies, including cash, gold, luxury vehicle, and home furnishings, over $480,000 in cash. Much of it
gold.
Yeah, gold. Much of it stuffed into envelopes and hidden in clothing, closets, and a safe was discovered in the home, along with over $70,000 in Menendez's safe deposit box. Some of the envelopes contained the fingerprints and DNA of Davies or his driver. Other of the envelopes were found inside jackets bearing Menendez's name and hanging in his closet as depicted below. How fitting is it that the money that has the DNA of the guy that's bribing him is literally in a jacket with his fucking name on it?
It's hilarious. Do you want to know what's really hilarious?
What?
His excuse on why he has all that cash sitting around his house.
What did he say?
He said because growing up Cuban,
look at the gold. Legit gold bars, bro.
I can't see the gold.
You can't see the gold?
No.
Why can't you see the gold?
I just see the header for the CNN site. But I'll go to tell you though, he said legitimately, this is what he said. Growing up Cuban, my parents were used to withdrawing cash and hoarding it. Oh God, look at the gold. That is gold bars. I see it now. Oh
legit
my God.
Gold bars, bro.
Legit gold bars.
Legit hundreds of thousands inside the jacket with his name on it, dude.
Yeah. But what he told them was, I hoard cash and I withdrew it from my personal savings account throughout the years as a habit because I'm Cuban and my parents grew up in communist Cuba, and that's what you would do when you're Cuban was hoard cash because you never knew when the system was going to collapse.
Well, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, except Cuba didn't become communist until 1959, and his parents came to the United States in 1955. So his parents never actually lived under communist Cuba.
Oh, Bobby. Get the dates right, my guy. Jesus Christ.
And the funny thing is, he's just like, yeah, I totally withdrew this cash from my personal savings account as if that's not something that can just be verified.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. He doesn't lie like a guy from New Jersey. I'll tell you that.
You tell me, Jay, if you had $20,000 stuffed in your pocket and I asked you where it came from, what do you tell me?
Not that. I'll be like, I don't know, man. I walked in my house and I found it right there. You should take it.
Gold bars. Legitimate gold bars.
Legitimate gold bars from Egypt.
And the funny thing is,
why Egypt?
This is such a boomer moment for him. He's such a fucking boomer. On his phone, on his Google records, they found he literally Googled how much are gold bars worth.
I'm about to Google how much is 1 kilo of gold worth. I want to know.
It's like $60,000.
For real?
We were talking about this the other day, and apparently my phone overheard me say gold bars. So I have gold bars popping up on my
62,000. So right
Yeah.
there
You can
on
buy
that
them off of
screen,
Walmart.com. Did you know that?
I didn't know that, but
Yeah,
right
it was
there,
it was a Facebook ad. Apparently, my phone was listening to us talk about this yesterday, so
right,
it showed me gold bars available on Walmart.com for
right
$66.
there on that screen is worth 125K. That's unreal.
But well, yeah. Does he explain the gold bars? Because apparently, he just withdrew cash throughout his entire life to save for a rainy day because he's Cuban. So what's the gold bars coming from? Did he just like stumble into Fort Knox one
I
time?
don't know. Why don't you could read the rest?
My dog won't shut up.
I don't care. It's fine.
Robert Menendez, the defendant, is the senior U.S. senator from the state of New Jersey. Your state, buddy. This is on you. I blame you. Your people vote for this guy.
Yep.
Menendez served as the mayor of Union City, New Jersey, and he was in the state legislature until 1993. When he was elected to the U.S. House of Representatives, representing a New Jersey district. No shit, he represented a New Jersey district. He was appointed to the U.S. Senate in 2006 and was subsequently elected in 2006 and reelected in 2012 and 2018. In 2018, he was reelected.
After the corruption.
He was already on federal corruption charges in 2015.
Incredible.
This isn't the first time.
It's incredible.
He was so blatantly corrupt. They had him on federal corruption charges back in 2015. And he got off. He wasn't even acquitted. It was just a mistrial. It was a hung jury. And then you guys reelected him. You're from Jersey, so I need your perspective on this. Why did you guys reelect him after that?
Because he's got a D next to his name. That's why, bro. He probably won the primary, if anybody even primaried against them. And then once they go into that voting booth, it's the same thing with Republicans. If that D is next to the name, it doesn't matter what you've done, because we're so like in this two-party fucking red team, blue team bullshit that people don't care. Oh, you're a criminal? Well, I'm not voting for a Republican.
That's so true. The amount of people that I know, like in my state, like who cannot stand, he's a senator now, but he's our former governor. He just got appointed to the Senate like back in January because one of our current senator like took a job somewhere or whatever. But his name's Pete Ricketts. I've never met anybody who liked the guy. He was a 2-term governor and now appointed in the Senate. No one fucking likes the guy, but he has an R next to his name, so they just reflexively vote for him.
That's the problem with our political system right now. Really, I hate it.
So, are you saying like just the tribalism and nonstop partisanship, where people pretend that they treat the political sides like they're football teams that they root for versus
give me another logical explanation to why people like this guy gets reelected after that, and like Lauren Boebert even gets elected in the first place. Give me another reason.
I can't think of another reason, honestly.
Right.
It has to be it. Yeah, because you have like these reasonable people, but you might have like in your state, Bob Menendez in 2018. I have no idea who he ran up against, but the Republican was probably a reasonable feller, and you guys just voted for Menendez after corruption charges just because he's a Democrat.
Right. Because people are like,
I'll tell you right now, I live in Omaha. I'm right next to Iowa, so I go to Iowa like five times a week. I'm in Iowa. Iowa's Senator Chuck Grassley, 89 years old. We just talked about that one broad, Dianne Feinstein, died at 90. Mitch McConnell, he's losing it now. He's pausing and freezing all the time. He's in his 80s. So they literally, I saw the campaign ads of the guy running against Chuck Grassley. He's a former Navy admiral. He seemed perfectly reasonable. He's like in his 50s or 60s, completely with it mentally. He seemed like a perfectly reasonable guy. And you also point out the fact he's a former admiral, right? But since he had a D next to his name, they voted for the 89-year-old guy who they've been voting for since the 80s. So it's just like, Yeah, you're right. I mean, I don't think these people would still be in office.
You know how many people, Aunt, probably walked into the booth that day and were like, I can't believe I'm about to vote for a fucking criminal, but I'm definitely not voting for a Republican. Like, I guarantee you countless people walked in there saying that. But they still pulled the lever for fucking Menendez. You know what I mean?
Bars.
Yeah. It's
Gold
unbelievable.
bars.
This guy is mega fucked. He's super fucked.
He's not even stepping down. During his press conference, he announced his reelection.
Dude, wouldn't you be mortified to even be seen in public, like in the halls of the U.S. Senate?
He's gotten John Fetterman, the guy from Pennsylvania, already called for him to resign, and he's got multiple senators who call for him to resign. And lots of people in the House of Representatives have called for him to resign. All Democrats like, get him out of here.
Unreal.
And he won't resign. He's not resigning. He's like, no, I'm running for re-election. What are you talking about? I'm not resigning. You guys already have a dude who's announced a primary challenge to him.
Good. Hopefully people are smart enough to take the shot on that guy, barring that he actually has a college degree or at least graduated high school. You know, that would be cool.
Jason, no, I need you to do me a favor since you have the ability to do this. Personally, I think they're just going after Bob because, you know, if you're not taking bribes from foreign dignitaries, are you even trying in the Senate? I think they're just trying to railroad him, you know. So could you just for the shits and giggles, if he does rerun, vote for him?
No. Tell me how the guy that is the chair of the Foreign Relations Committee takes a bribe to do the bidding of the Egyptian government, and that's not treason? Like, what is that?
I don't know what to say. It probably is treason.
Fucking hang him. Well, do they do that still?
No, they don't. It's a lethal injection, I think.
I should say, in this country, you are innocent until proven guilty. Maybe, you know, he found those gold bars from Egypt on the street.
You know, that's possible. I know I've tripped over gold bars before.
Me too. I have two of them in my living room. I have them on the coffee table right now.
I mean, I took mine to the Cash for Gold place, and then.
You got robbed, bro. You got ripped off. What'd they give you? 43,000 for the kilo?
At the time, I think it was only worth 30,000, but I lost it all in the Super Bowl betting the Bengals.
Huddle. You got to hold on for dear life, bro.
Yeah, so I mean that's probably what happened. Is he found them on the street like we all do, and he hasn't gone to the Cash for Gold place yet.
That's what it is.
That's got to be what it is. And the cash, I mean, he's probably right. He probably did withdraw that cash.
So how long do you think until he is like arrested?
I think he technically already has been arrested.
Oh, so he's out on bail, basically just voting on the floor of the U.S. Senate, out on bail.
I mean, yeah. Well, because it's he's indicted. So once you're indicted, I mean, it's basically just a matter of time for you got to go up and because I saw an article where he said he pled not guilty, so that means he's already been arrested.
Wow, bro.
So he's seen a judge.
So don't you think if there is an indictment on you, you shouldn't be able to vote on the floor of the U.S. Senate? Granted, there might only be 8 to 10 people voting, but I mean, still, like, you shouldn't be able to vote.
Yeah, why is Chuck Schumer needs to get off his ass and tell him he needs to resign? So, do you think anyone's more corrupt than Bobby, or do you think?
No, he wins the right. At least right now, from what we know, he wins the prize. New Jersey, stand up, baby. You know what I mean?
What's insane is this is the second time he's been indicted, but like it's bribery and corruption and our politics is like legal for the most part. So for you to be indicted on corruption charges, not once, but now twice, you got to be like super corrupt. Like, this isn't just like standard issue, regular, everyday corruption. This is like super mega corruption. You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Everyday corruption is just making 200 million a year because of insider trading. You know what I mean? Or whatever they make. That's your standard everyday corruption. This is a little bit,
or
beyond
like
the pale.
you have a super PAC that like the oil companies and the healthcare companies all donate to that super PAC, and then you just conveniently vote against free healthcare and conveniently vote against climate change legislation, or and conveniently vote for more oil drilling because you have a super PAC that ExxonMobil and pharmaceutical companies donated to. That's normal corruption.
Yeah.
That's just regular bribes. This is legit gold bars. Like, that's kind of like, that's just cartoonish.
It's it's unreal, dude. It's so crazy, but like, it shouldn't surprise anybody.
And how do you even have that amount of cash on you, too?
I mean, you can't put it in the bank. You can't put it in the bank.
Exactly.
That's why.
Because you put that amount of cash in the bank, you have to explain where that cash came from. What do you
Right.
want to do? Well, this Egyptian dignitary bribed me.
That's why there's a $500,000 stuffed inside of jackets in his house.
Yeah, well, it's the same reason why they say you got to launder money, because if you just happen to find $5 million, you can't actually do anything with that money, other than I guess you're just going to.
Yeah, I mean, if he was smart, he would have started a business and washed the money through there. I mean, what are we doing, Bob?
I mean, that's what you guys in Jersey do with whatever
Correct.
mob shit you're probably involved with.
I am not. How dare you? I am a normal human being. Thank you very much. Well, Ant, we made it through an entire show without saying Donald Trump or Joe Biden.
You just stop. Well, let's just be honest. Since the last time we had a show, Donald Trump hasn't been indicted again.
And Joe Biden hasn't fallen down or fucking drooled.
He's striking with the auto workers right now.
God bless him.
Yeah, well, he's got to do something since he's not getting anything passed. And we're about 2 days away from a government shutdown because the Republicans in the House of Representatives don't know their ass from a hole in the ground.
All right. That's episode 7 of Ant and Jay Save America. We'll try to be back next week, hopefully around the same time. Probably on Wednesday, or probably Wednesday night if we do it next week. But yeah, it was fun. Hopefully we'll do it again. For Ant, I'm Jay. We'll see you next week. Later.